Hi guys, today we're going to be talking about the outline and works cited assignment, and the key here is before you start, you really need to not only have turned in your annotated bibliography, but you need to have made the corrections I've asked you to make, because if your works cited entries are wrong, you're just going to be copying and pasting them over and then needing to fix them, and that's a pain. So make sure that annotated bib is good to go, and then we'll move on. So, looking at this assignment, there are two components, but they're going to be part of one Google Doc, the outline and the works cited. A couple brief points before I start to do the demo. Number one, your outline follows an MLA format, and of course, you've already got a formatted document that you're going to be able to use. You're going to have 3 body sections on your outline, and those are going to correlate with the 3 subtopics from your topic worksheet. One element of formatting with an outline: if you have an A, you must have a B. If you have a 1, you must have a 2, and I'll show you what I mean once we get there. In terms of the content, you're going to need a catchy title, not just how to or why something has happened. This is also going to be one of those places where you're allowed to write in sentence fragments, so you're using bullet points. Sometimes those are complete sentences, but they don't have to be. You're going to fully support each subtopic, and you're going to cite properly after every piece of evidence. That will be key, because when we don't cite, it's plagiarism and you get a 0. Your works cited is going to be very, very straightforward, because if your annotated bib is finished and you've got all the sources you need, you're literally copying and pasting from that annotated bib. The key is that you want those entries in alphabetical order by first word. A reminder, with in-text citations, we use them every time we pull evidence from a source. Also, you're only going to have 2 or fewer quotes in your outline, and they should be no longer than 2 lines or 1 sentence. As always, I need to mention plagiarism. Guys, if you use the author's words without quoting and citing, or you fail to paraphrase properly, or you paraphrase without citing, it's going to be a 0. Let's not let that be how this assignment goes. So, what I'd like to talk about next is what you're going to want to have open when you do the outline and works cited. So, you're going to have the file that I've made for you, which looks like this. You're going to have my example for reference. There's your rubric. You can look over at your leisure, but we actually don't need to have that open. And this is going to be my example that I type on. You're also going to want your topic worksheet, because you're going to be transferring information over. You're going to want your annotated bibliography open, because we're going to be copying and pasting. And then all of your sources, go ahead and have those tabs open. I'm just going to open 2 for simplicity. So my recommendation is that we start with the works cited, because frankly, we're literally copying and pasting, and that's going to be easy. So all you're going to do, again, assuming that your annotated bib is done, is you're going to copy your works cited entries one by one and paste them appropriately. So don't forget that on the Chromebook, the shortcut is Control-C for copy. And then if I go down below on works cited, you're going to see I've given you a placeholder. Highlight over that. Control-V for paste. Hit enter. Do it again. And again, it makes all the difference in the world if your annotated bib is complete and fixed, because if your sources are already in alphabetical order like they're supposed to be, I'm literally going to be able to just copy and paste in order, and I'm going to be done. Okay? So that's how you do the works cited portion. Let's go to the outline portion. Your title needs to be catchy, and keep in mind, don't sit here and spend 5 minutes agonizing over a title. Sometimes it just comes to you at some point. You can do that last. What popped into my head for this example about a vegetable garden was the idea of food for thought, which is just kind of a cliche I've heard. How to start a vegetable garden. So it's okay to finish your title with that generic topic, but having something catchy here is a good start. The next thing I want to do is visit my topic worksheet, because these 3 subtopics are going to be the 3 body sections of the outline. So I've already put the second and third one in there just to make it faster. How to prepare the land was my first subtopic. So I'm literally just going to change this to preparing the land. Okay, and you'll see that I've done that for subtopics 2 and subtopics 3. And once I've done that, I can close out that topic worksheet. Now it's time to find evidence and put it into your outline. There's a couple ways you can do this. The first one is to go in order. Maybe I want to have all of my sources open and I want to focus on just things that will support the idea of preparing the land. That's fine. Maybe I want to read one article at a time and then plug and play wherever points fit. That's also fine. Here's the key though. Every single article that you have in your work cited must be somewhere in here cited. Otherwise, you haven't met the requirements. So make sure you use every article at least once. So let's get started. I'm going to start with this Good Housekeeping article. And I know if I'm going to go in order that I want to start with preparing the land. So a lot of these articles tend to start with some kind of introduction, and I want to skip down to the actual meat and potatoes. Okay, so if I'm preparing the land, it makes sense that I want to map out the garden and till the soil. But I don't necessarily want 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't necessarily want 4 subheadings all from this article. So what if I just use my first point here as preparing the space? Okay? And what the Good Housekeeping article said is that what I need to do is map out the land. Okay, I'm kind of skimming this. I don't want to use my quote on this, so I want to paraphrase this. So map out the garden. I'm going to change that to plan what my garden will look like. And then I need to go ahead and cite. Because it's an online source with no pages, I'm not using a page number, but I do need the author's last name, which is Shafia. So I'm going to put that in my citation. Okay, preparing the space. Plan what my garden will look like. What else did she say that I need to do? Oh, I need to till the soil. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I want to go to my second source, though, because this source talks about the same thing. Okay, ask yourself a few questions about the potential site. Ooh, drainage and sun pattern. These are things that I would probably need to know under preparing the space. So check drainage and sun patterns. Okay, and my author on that one is Barbara Pleasant, so I'm going to cite there. Now I need to go ahead and add a 3 because I realize there's a whole lot more here, and this is totally fine. You can add 2, but the key is if you've got an A, you've got to have a B. If you have a 1, you've got to have a 2. Okay? So if you realize that you don't have much for one of your subtopics and you don't need any of this, what you're going to need to do is instead of having an A, a 1, a 2, and a 3, you might need to turn these to just an A, B, and a C. Okay? If you have an A, you have to have a B. If you have a 1, you have to have a 2. Let's see what else I can put under preparing the space. She talks about turning the soil, worm castings, mulching. My goodness, there's a lot to this. Oh, remove existing vegetation. Okay, so I need to get rid of what's already there. So eliminate other plants on the land. Okay, and I could continue on there. Let me go ahead and go to B. The other part of preparing the land, other than preparing the space, based on my reading, is that preparing the soil. So if I go back to Shafia, she talks about tilling, turning, and mulching. And again, I'm not putting these in complete sentences. Okay? And this is how it works. So whether or not you go from 1A, 1, 2, 3 to B, 1, 2, or you find stuff and you go, oh, this would be good for my A under number 1. Oh, this would be good now for my A under number 2. Work in a manner that is helpful to you. The key is, guys, every single one of these bullets that has information from your text must be cited. And if you're quoting, make sure you only use 2 and that you put quotation marks around them. As always, if you have any questions, you can ask me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be checking your outline, and once I see a complete section like this, I'm going to comment on it and let you know that you're on the right track or not. The key thing for you to check when you're finished is that you've used all of your sources, that you've covered every single one of these completely, and you've got quality information, because we are going to have to make a video from this. Talk to you soon.